Claude Joseph, thank you so much for joining me on UpFront.
Thank you, Mark. It's an honor to be here with you.
After Haitian President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated in July of this past year, you served as acting president from July 7th till about July 20th. The UN Special Representative for Haiti, Helen Lalim, said that you would remain president until an election would be held later that year. Then the core group, ambassadors to Haiti from Canada, Germany, Brazil, Spain, the US, France, and the EU, called for Ariel Henry to form a government. What happened?
Exactly after the tragic assassination of the president, the country needed someone to remind them that we have to go through this tragedy together. And I was that person. No one else was risking their life to work with the people, to give them orientation. So I decided to do so because I was the prime minister. I was the acting, I should say, prime minister. But I should also say that Dr. Henry was the designated prime minister. So I decided to step down and stay in the government as Minister of Foreign Affairs. Ariel Henry, ambassador UN in Haiti, said I would remain as prime minister until elections. But afterwards, because of the power vacuum in Haiti, we all decided, and I decided to step down.
So there was no pressure?
No, I was not forced. I knew that Dr. Ariel Henry was the last wish of President Moïse before he was assassinated. We know how to come together sometimes and just, put aside our own interest and put Haiti first.
In September, your country's then prosecutor requested the current Prime Minister, Ariel Henry, to testify regarding his connection to the killers, the suspected killers of former President Moïse. But then Henry fired him, along with the Justice Minister who supported him. This appears to many to be a case of obstruction of justice. Isn't firing the chief prosecutor and the Justice Minister an example of obstruction?
Let me say this clear. No one is above the law in Haiti. It's certain that the justice system has its weakness, but no one is above the law. What I can tell you is...
But just so I'm clear, the chief prosecutor and the justice minister were fired. That's an established fact, right?
Yes.
By almost any legal standard, that would be considered obstruction of justice. How do you see that act? Is that obstruction?
It depends on where someone stands. There are other people that actually say that there was administrative fault. I mean,
do you believe that?
What I do believe is that no one is above the law. I believe that if I am invited by the judge, I should go. No one is above the law. So I truly, firmly believe in the justice system in my country. I'm optimistic in the capacity of the legal investigators.
Why are you optimistic? I mean, there's an NGO, Transparency International, which gave Haiti a score of, I believe, 18 out of 100 in terms of corruption. Only 9 other countries in the world scored worse. What gives you optimism that the investigation will be transparent or that justice will be served given this context?
Thus far, we have a report from the National Police, but a particular unit that is responsible for that. And that investigation was conducted according to the principles. So that's exactly why I say I'm very confident. But again, yes, I'm confident. Remember that I was the one, as Minister of Foreign Affairs, that actually requests a special commission and a special tribunal from the UN to help the Haiti's justice system to actually investigate this crime. 28 people who got to Haiti and killed the president are foreign mercenaries. 26 among them from Colombia, and 2 are Haitian Americans. So we need also international cooperation to actually address this problem and find who actually were behind the crime.
Recently, Henry publicly addressed the gang violence and kidnapping that has been taking place in Haiti. But this was only days after a strike shut down schools, businesses, and public transportation in Port-au-Prince. He threatened actions against gangs up to imprisonment and even death. How seriously do you think that threat was taken?
It's very serious because gangs should be not the one who's making the law in the country. So it's a very serious threat. It's not a threat, it's something that will be concretized pretty soon.
You say that gangs don't run the country. And as a technical matter, of course that's true. But I'll give you an example. A prominent gang leader, Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier, he said that he would allow fuel to move safely into the country if Ariel Henry resigns. Doesn't sound like he's too worried about the threats coming from the government. And at least from many perspectives, it also looks like he has a level of control over the country that the government may not want to acknowledge, but is absolutely the case.
Listen, the situation in Haiti is complicated. We all know that. And this is why when I was Prime Minister, I decided to step down, because I think we need to put Haiti first. And I'm asking not the gangs, we're not going to negotiate with gangs, but I'm asking all political groups, all groups from the civil society to put themselves together, to work for Haiti, because what does that mean? Is that there are ramifications, political ramifications in what you are witnessing in terms of gangs. So that's
would you agree, though, that the gangs don't seem particularly concerned with the government threats?
They are. I think they are concerned. They should be concerned. If they are not, they should be concerned.
There's a way that, because the public announcement about the gangs only happens after the strike, after public demonstration, there's a sense among many, including everyday, ordinary Haitian citizens, that the government isn't particularly concerned about this, that this is something that is only getting a response because people have stood up and protested.
No, we are very concerned. That's why you see the move when there's a shakeup in the Haitian National Police. So we have a new police director now and a new leadership.
France Elbe.
France Elbe, yes.
Of course, a shakeup could be a good move, but that would be determined by who the choice is. France Elbe has been accused of being involved in police repression and human rights abuses for decades, as well as having connections to gang leaders. Elbe is godfather to the son of a powerful gang leader in Haiti, according to the Miami Herald, and his security forces have a long history of human rights abuses. If the argument is we care about gangs, and we care about the violence, and we care about corruption, and then you hire a new police head of the National Police Force, and it's such a controversial figure with such a sketchy past, doesn't that only reinforce the fears that people have and the skepticism people have?
There's a entity within the National Police that can investigate those allegations. I cannot myself say too much about those allegations.
But why even appoint someone? I mean, Haiti is filled with brilliant, talented, extraordinary people, extraordinary leaders, principled people. There's no doubt about that. So if you already have a low confidence coming from the people and from the broader world, why appoint someone with such a sketchy past?
What I can tell you is that those are allegations. So, I mean, we have never seen any decision from the justice system that actually condemned him. If he was condemned, he would not be the chief of or the director of Haitian National Police. So I take them for allegations, accusation now.
But not just accusations. I mean, these are coming from human rights organizations. These are coming from everyday people on the ground. These aren't sort of random sort of accusations coming out.
Yes.
And these date back to the 2000s.
Yes, but I have yet to see justice decision against him. That's a problem.
Let's pivot, because earlier in the conversation, you talked about needing international support, international help. And this isn't the first time that you said that. You've called for international intervention in the country. In July, you said, quote, "We're asking for small troops to assist and help us." There's a long history of devastating intervention in Haiti, outside powers coming in and controlling the country. Knowing that, why make the call for outside intervention? How do you justify it?
Here's how I should justify it. I think the Haitian National Police should be supported technically, correct? Because we need equipments, but we need also technical support. The army also, the Haitian army, it's clear to me, crystal clear to me, that we definitely need support. Now,
but troops, I mean, you do want boots on the ground, you just don't want an active fighting force.
It can, I mean, I'm not saying fighting force, not boots on the ground to actually face the situation. If you call it boots on the ground, but boots to help the military, to help the police. So that's what I ask for. There are different types of intervention. Haiti, unfortunately, knew some experience, I should say, some really bad types of intervention. So I did not ask for that. I asked for technical support. I asked for equipments, because we do not have certain things that can help us fight the gangs, the urbanized gangs that try to take control of the whole country.
Technical support, training, not military forces, not a military force.
Of course.
Claude, Joseph, thank you so much for joining me on UpFront.
Thank you. I appreciate it.